Good evening and welcome to The Big Story. I'm Shawn Yao.
And I'm Denise Tan.
Tonight's big stories. The House Quad Committee cites at least 2 people in contempt in its last hearing for the year. The mega panel is also poised to submit a progress report before breaking for the holidays.
And President Marcos orders a more intense crackdown on offshore gaming amid reports POGOs are going underground to skirt the blanket ban on their operations.
And still on the president, he recently sat down with police officials in a security command conference. But the PNP was quick to clarify that it was not a loyalty check amid the current political climate in the country. And as we speak, this is, of course, Denise, the big story today, the 13th edition or episode of the hearing of the House Quad Committee, which is still ongoing. As in the past, this one is expected to go far into the night and maybe even until the wee hours of tomorrow morning.
So far, the mega panel of the House of Representatives has cited 2 former law enforcement officials in contempt.
And in that same Quad Committee hearing, former PDEA Chief Wilkins Villanueva was also cited in contempt. Let's get more information on this and other topics covered in today's ongoing inquiry from none other than Quad Committee Lead Chairman, Congressman Ace Barbers. Congressman Barbers, thank you so much for joining the big story again and for stepping out of the hearing to take our call.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Shawn and Denise.
Okay, we know that the hearing is still ongoing. At the moment, of course, Denise and I were watching the whole day, but we had to stop to go to work. What is currently on the table?
Well, right now, the current situation right now is that a member of Congress is asking questions to a certain Miss Mooking. Miss Mooking is the apparently the person in charge of the payment for reward for all the killings that happened under the War on Drugs program. And apparently this is the Davao model. And now she's being asked and questioned by Congresswoman Jinky Luistro. But earlier, we had as our resource persons the families of the victims of extrajudicial killings that happened one in Batangas, one in Cavite, and one in the province of Rizal, which happened last 2023. And until now, unfortunately, justice has not been served. So they seek and ask for an audience with the Quadcom so that they can relay their story and ask for the assistance of the Quad in order to bring to justice the perpetrators of those crimes. Okay. So far, we're still in the thick of discussions on the issues of drugs and extrajudicial killings.
Okay, I know there's so many topics to unpack here, but first of all, earlier this morning, at least in the beginning part of today's hearing, you also cited in contempt Police Colonel Hector Grijaldo, I believe because he snubbed the hearing 4 times. Now, how would this work? Because as reports have it, no, Congressman Barbers, pati yung police force, they have kind of no idea now where he is. Supposedly, he's been absent. But we heard the testimony of the police doctors earlier, and then they said that they were able to see him in the hospital, but that was, I believe, December 5, December 3, somewhere around that time.
That's correct. Yes, I think he's confined presently at the Pasig Clinic. Somewhere in Pasig, there's a clinic where he is confined because he has undergone a medical procedure last November. And until now, apparently he's still there, no? But because there was already a contempt order issued by the court, by the Quadcom, we are now asking the Philippine National Police to escort him and bring him before the Quad tonight, no? And if that is possible, because according to the Philippine National Police medical doctors, when they assessed Colonel Grijaldo, he was healthy, he was ambulatory, and therefore has no reason not to attend. So now we are compelling the Philippine National Police leadership to bring him to the Quad so that he will be detained as approved and adopted by the Quadcom committee.
Okay, last question on the contempt citations. Congressman Barbers, how come you guys agreed? Can you just inform or explain to the audience why former PDEA Chief Wilkins Villanueva, his contempt order will start or his detention will start kumbaga on Jan 13 or pag-resume ng sessions, but for Colonel Grijaldo, it's not the same case?
Well, Colonel Grijaldo has failed to attend purposely for the last 4 invitations. And we were quite lenient, we were quite accommodating as to his 3 previous absences. But in this 5th absence, then perhaps we felt that this was an insult to the committee and maybe lack of, not just lack of respect, but definitely an insult to the committee. These government employees must realize that there is such a contempt power granted by the Constitution to the congressional committees. And of course, we do not do this based on our whims and caprices. There are discussions before a contempt order is implemented. And as you can all see, in all our hearings, we try to deliberate. We try to ask the members if they have any objections or any amendments to certain motions. And there seems to be in a united decision by the members who are present when we cited him in contempt for violating our rules, internal rules. The Section 11 and paragraph A, which states that failing to appear before or failing to acknowledge the invitation by the committee. So these are the reasons. This is one of the major reasons why he was cited in contempt.
Mm-hmm. Congressman, as mentioned earlier as well, former PDEA Chief Wilkins Villanueva was also cited in contempt, and it was Congressman Paduano, no? Why was he cited in contempt, sir?
So you mean General Wilkins Villanueva?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was cited in contempt because he was lying before the committee. He was not, first, he was evasive. Second, he was not telling us the truth. And that was a motion again by Congressman Paduano, where majority of the members present did not object to. So the chair has to rule that a citation for his contempt be issued. That's the reason why we all agreed that we cite him in contempt and detain him in the premises of the House of Representatives.
Okay, heading into today, which is the 13th hearing of the Quadcom, Congressman Ace, you did say that you're going to release a progress report. So this is kind of like a partial report, at least on the topic of POGOs, which, as you guys have said, matatapos na yung POGO part ng investigation. I suppose that leaves illegal drugs and EJKs for next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with regard lang to the POGOs, I mean, sometimes I ask myself, Kong, no, what's the point? Kasi tapos na naman eh, di ba? The ban is effective in just a few more weeks, December 31. What are we really hoping to get out of here? I also heard na Cassandra Leong, no? So she's related to the POGO part of the inquiry. She's also asking na matapos na yung kanyang contempt citation and for her to be released. What are the updates with regard to that progress report and also those that are detained with regard to POGOs?
Well, you know, the issue of POGO, in spite of the fact that the President has issued a directive to cancel all the IGLs or the POGO, the permits issued by PAGCOR to all POGO operators, there seems to be a circumvention, no, by these POGO operators of this directive of the President. And we continue to investigate because we'd like to find out who are the people behind, who are the government officials who are behind these illegal POGO operators. And, you know, I believe because these are Chinese nationals, I don't think they will just come here, operate it without anyone helping them, assisting them, or any higher official of the country that would enable them to operate and continue their operations. So we are continuously receiving reports and information as to the possible involvement of several government officials, no? And we'd like to dig deeper in that. That's why we will continue to investigate.
Okay. Just confirming, Congressman Barbers, that the progress report is due out somewhere between December 18 and 21. Can you confirm that?
Yeah, hopefully, no, if we can, after tonight's committee Quadcom hearing, we'll probably start working on our progress report by tomorrow until maybe Monday. And maybe Tuesday we can report it out to the plenary.
And I know that you said that we have to wait for this progress report before we can find out who these 10 retired and active government officials who you're recommending to be filed charges against. But
well, yeah,
yeah.
What I said was the report would be very, very interesting. Why? Because this is the only committee report where more than 10 proposed legislation, remedial legislations, will be submitted by a committee. First time ever in the history of Congress, maybe, in Philippine Congress. No? Second, yes, there will be some based on the testimonial evidence and documentary evidence that we have. No, we will probably recommend filing of some administrative cases against government employees and perhaps even criminal cases against certain personalities. And hopefully we can put all this evidence together so that we can recommend, and this recommendation will be the basis for the appropriate agency or agencies to start their deeper investigation.
Congressman, can you also give us a rundown of what has been accomplished in the last 13 hearings and also the possible legislations that would come out of it?
Nako, modesty aside, medyo marami. Kasi I think if I'm not mistaken, based on the progress report, initial progress draft report, and nakita ko doon, I think we have around 16 proposed legislations and some recommendations for administrative cases and criminal cases. That's all I can say for now.
Okay. Alam mo, actually, kung tinatanong lang yun ni Denise, because you previously said, no, na pagka sinabi mo yung charges, medyo mahuhulaan na namin kung sino yung 10. But last question.
No. Yung 10 or 15, these are remedial legislation as a product of this committee hearing. But recommending the filing of charges, yes, we do have some names, and we will bring this out in the open after the plenary approves the committee report.
Okay. One last question, Congressman Ace, and this is somewhat has to do with the Quadcom still. I remember just, I think, a week ago or maybe a week and a half ago, you were targeted by trolls online, accusing you of being a drug addict, etc., and your brother too.
A drug lord, worse than that.
Okay, a drug lord.
Even worse than that, because they were accusing me of being a drug lord.
Exactly. So after that, though, 2 congressmen, I think it was the newly married Congresswoman Migs Nograles and Congressman Chino Almario, they filed this anti-troll bill, anti-troll farm bill. Are you going to support that? Are you guys going to be taking this up?
Yes, definitely. No, I think most of this is not to go against trolls or bloggers, as they call them. But the reason why we want to pass this law is because we want to regulate the use of social media as a means to sending out information. Because some people, they use this to make money. As we all know, no, if you get X number of views or shares and likes, you can monetize, no, in some social media platforms. And when you do monetize, the more controversial stories you issue or you come out with, then it becomes more reason for some Filipinos to view this. That's the sad part here, no? We want to regulate, of course, not to stop them from expressing what they want to say, but only to regulate. There must be some sort of accountability and responsibility in doing these vlogs. If you perpetuate or peddle fake news, there's a law that would punish you. Diba? So dapat they should all realize this because it became suddenly Filipinos became digital marites or fake news peddlers, and some of them are not paid for by narcos. Some of them are paid for by POGO operators just to hit back on the Quadcom investigation.
How are you able to say that they are, you call them, that's right, narco-trolls or narco-vloggers? How sure are you na galing talaga sa drugs yung TF nila, yung talent fee?
You see, look, who's going to benefit in this peddling of fake news against the members of the Quad Committee? Who? Who are we investigating? Diba? We're investigating drug syndicates, drug personalities, and even POGOs, diba? So, and these vloggers, they have high-paying jobs because they can monetize and get X amount, for their posts or their content or their vlogs. And who would pay them? Siyempre, the ones that will pay them are those that will benefit, diba? So, yun ang aming tingin. And that's the reason why we said, probably these people are paid for. That's why we call them the narco-vloggers, narco and POGO vloggers. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
hindi naman lahat, let me just be clear, no? Hindi naman lahat ng vloggers ay masama. Only those that peddle fake news, create contents that has no basis at all, and only to malign and impute malice or maybe even destroy the person. Yan ang mga narco-vloggers. The rest are okay. If it's a public information dissemination effort, that's fine. We would appreciate that. If they hit us on the way we conduct the hearings, they hit us as poor performers, or they hit us as walang kwentang mga congressman, okay lang yun. No problem. We won't even mind. But once they say that Congressman Barbers is a drug lord, or maybe even Congressman Benny Abante is a drug pusher, and Dan Fernandez is a kunyari a drug user, ibang klase na yon, ibang usapan na yon.
All right, we'll let you get back to that hearing now. But thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us again. That was Quad Committee Lead Chairman Congressman Ace Barbers over the phone. Thank you so much, Kong. And so it seems that today's Quadcom hearing will be going well into the night indeed. Let's now take a look at some of the highlights from the earlier part of that hearing from Marian Enriquez.
This is the last hearing of the year for the House Quad Committee. The mega panel is hoping to make significant strides in gathering as much information on the drug war, extrajudicial killings, and offshore gaming, and establishing their connection. Resource persons and witnesses have responded to summons from the Quad, but a few have refused to do so, including former Mandaluyong Police Chief Colonel Hector Grijaldo. Grijaldo was last seen in public during a Senate hearing 2 months ago. There, he accused Quad co-chairman Dan Fernandez and Benny Abante of coercion. He claimed that the lawmakers pressured him to confirm the reward system in the war on drugs of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Fernandez and Abante vehemently denied the allegation. Even the lawyers of former police colonel and PCSO chief Regina Garma, who were present in the meeting among the congressmen and Grijaldo, refuted the claim. Since then, the Quadcom has invited Grijaldo to its inquiry 4 times. On December 2, the ex-PNP official sent word that he recently had a shoulder operation and that he could not attend the lower chamber's inquiry.
Sumusobra na siya. I'm sorry, but I really believe it's high time that with the indulgence of all the chairmen, that I move to cite Colonel Hector Grijaldo in contempt.
Grijaldo is yet to make a statement on the contempt order, but his former colleagues in the force said they will abide by any directive from the House.
We will provide assistance sa Quad Committee to make sure na a-attend po sa susunod po itong si Colonel Galo who remains under restrictive custody po.
Unlike Grijaldo, former customs fixer Mark Taguba was present in Thursday's hearing. He again accused the so-called clique of Congressman Paulo Duterte of involvement in drug smuggling.
Sino masasabi mo na head o leader ng Davao group na to?
Well, tingin ko po si Paulo Duterte po.
Yan po ba ay common knowledge po sa inyong pinagtatrabahuan dati?
Yes po yun.
It's not only illegal drugs that the Davao group snuck in. Former Customs Intelligence Officer Jimmy Guban alleged that there were also agricultural products, specifically rice.
Hindi ho kontrolado ng custom officials ang Bureau of Customs. It's the Davao group that was controlling during that time.
Next week, the Quadcom will submit a progress report to the plenary, laying down issues that it has covered so far in 13 hearings. The panel will also introduce at least 15 bills as a result of their inquiry. There will also be a recommendation to file criminal or administrative charges against 10 retired and active government officials supposedly involved in the illegal drug trade, EJKs or POGOs. For News 5, I'm Marian Enriquez. We are One News.
And we have more big stories when we return. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. President Bongbong Marcos led a Security Command conference in Camp Crame today. Present at that meeting were Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla, PNP Chief General Romel Francisco Marbil, and AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Browner Jr. The discussions focused on concerns for the upcoming 2025 midterm elections, regional and national peace and order situation, and the investigation of high-profile cases, among others. The PNP says the meeting had nothing to do with the recent political drama and no loyalty checks were made.
There's no need for loyalty check. We remain loyal to the Constitution and we know our mandate.
Also discussed in that meeting was the administration's current war on drugs. President Marcos apparently wants to shift operations to curb the source of drugs in the country.
So ang sabi niya, let us hit for harder.
Vice President Sara Duterte says she will not accept a new security detail if the entire VP SPG personnel will be pulled out. Duterte said she would rather explore outsourcing security services from private organizations. Recall that last November, AFP Chief of Staff Romeo Browner confirmed that the Vice President's security detail will be replaced to give way to the subpoena from the PNP. It called for members of the VP SPG to be investigated due to the commotion during the transfer of OVP Chief of Staff Zulaika Lopez to a hospital. The VP said she had written a letter to General Browner on her decision.
Iwan na lang nila kung ano yung maiwan, and kung wala mang maiwan dahil tatanggalin nila lahat, I already said that I will seek security arrangements outside of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. There are professional security services, so that's not considered as a private army.
Both the AFP and PNP, however, said they remain committed to their duty to secure the top leaders of the country.
Detail na hindi po walang kakayanan na gampanan po ang ganyang mission.
That's sad to hear na hindi po tayo pinagtitiwalaan, but we want to assure our Vice President, siguraduhin po natin na ibubuwis po ng mga security forces yung buhay po nila para protektahan po yung kanilang principal.
Denise, alam mo yung yesterday nga, di ba, hindi nagpakita si VP Sara sa NBI, but she did push through with the Thanksgiving party for the media. Tapos nagpa-press con siya after about 1 hour where she said nga na, alam mo, pagka tinanggal ng AFP yung security, which apparently hindi pa pala nila nagagawa. So nagulat rin ako. I thought wala
Yeah,
na
yeah.
sila. Did you think the same? Yeah, and then sabi niya, kung kinuha nila yan, I don't want to take to take any replacement. So if they remove, wag na silang magpadala ng mga replacements.
Oo.
Tapos mag-hire na lang daw
Oh,
siya.
ng private nga daw, 'di ba, na I don't know, organization
Oo,
or
private
company.
security firm.
Security
Tinanong pa
firm.
siya, hindi ba private army yun?
Oo.
Sabi, hindi, marami namang professional, yung mga security
Oo,
agencies.
yes, that's right.
That's true. Pero I just got shocked. I thought they really removed. Kasi after the hearing, everything
Oo.
was so hot, everything was moving so
Kala mo
fast.
tuloy-tuloy na.
Oo, yung pala, ay, hindi pa pala sila tinatanggal, nandun pa pala sila.
Okay, up next, President Bongbong Marcos wants to intensify operation against remaining POGOs as a deadline on their licenses expires in 3 days. We'll be speaking with the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission on this when we return. Stay with us.
You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. As deadlines loom, President Bongbong Marcos orders intensified operations on POGOs or Philippine offshore gaming operations. Now, according to the PNP, the president specifically ordered to look into possible small groups doing guerrilla operations, organizing in subdivisions, apartments, or in small communities. All POGO licenses are set to expire on December 15. While all licensed POGOs have been given until the end of December to cease operations. Recall that in PBBM's State of the Nation address last July, he said that all POGO operations should end this year. Let's discuss this further with Undersecretary Gilbert Cruz. He is, of course, the Executive Director of the PAOCC, or the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission. Welcome back to The Big Story, Yusek Cruz.
Good evening, ma'ams, and those who are watching and listening to our show. Good evening po sa inyong lahat.
Okay, December 15 is next week, Yusek Cruz. And then by December 31, we're expecting that POGOs will be history or a thing of the past. Where are we now in the campaign against POGOs, in the closure and the wrap-up of their operations?
So far, yung mga malalaki natin, yung sinasabi natin mga big POGO hubs na ipasara na natin. Aside, of course, those POGO hubs that we raided in the past, marami na po yun. And recently, meron nga pong nagsara. And I think it was shown in dun sa mga networks po natin and sa mga newspapers po natin pinakita how is it kung yung pagkakasara nung POGO na yon. And we're looking at yung mga naiwan na lang at yung talagang magmamatigas na to operate still despite yung sinabi po ng ating presidente na they only have up to the end of this year to cease their operation, or else ito pong pagpasok po ng the next year magsisimula na po kaming manghuli ng mga natitira at those rogue POGOs who opted to operate pa rin kahit the guerrilla type or yung mga patago na operation na gagawin nila.
No less, no less than the president has actually flagged that, yung tinatawag yung guerrilla POGOs or yung mga nagtatago bilang BPO or whatnot. Ano po yung plan regarding that? Of course, medyo mahirap siya isara kung hindi naman siya talagang blatantly exposed as a POGO. What's the game plan there, Yusek?
Meron na kami mga intel reports as to those who are yung talagang magko-continue, and yung mga nasa listahan ng PAGCOR and yung mga nasa listahan ng PAOCC, actually iniisa-isa na namin and with that monitoring malalaman na namin kung sino talaga yung magtutuloy-tuloy, and doon kami magpo-focus next year pagpasok nung taon talaga we will be start operating on this rogue POGOs na nagkalat at yung mga malalaking POGOs na tumigil but actually gumawa lang sila ng smaller scales na mga POGOs at tapos kumalat sila sa buong bansa. And with this, kasama po natin ang DILG and the local government units to help us in this campaign. Kasi kagaya ng sinabi ng ating mahal na Pangulo, na hindi naman mag-ooperate talaga ito at hindi naman talaga sisibol itong mga POGO operations na to without the knowledge of the local government units. Kasi sabi nga niya, kitang-kita naman ito eh. And there are a lot of red flags or indicators showing na ito ay talagang POGO. Like halimbawa, if they are operating during nighttime and then there were presence of foreign nationals dun sa area, like tapos may mga maraming sasakyan and nakita nila nagpapasok ng pagkain, nagpapadeliver ng maraming pagkain. So those are red flags na pwede nating gamitin and those are the things that we are informing yung mga local government natin na tignan nila. So on their own, pwede sila mag-conduct ng kanilang mga operation dito sa mga rogue POGOs.
Yusek, sa inyo na po nanggaling na meron talaga matitigas pa rin ng ulo, 100 plus pa nga po ang sabi nyo. How huge is the probability kung may mga red flags, kung may mga tell, that these remaining POGOs would actually still organize into guerrilla ones po?
Yeah, ang sabi naman diyan during our meeting with the president naman kasi talagang mananagot na yung ating mga local government units dito kasi despite all the announcement, yung sinabi na po na ban na po talaga yung POGO and those POGOs o yung mga magpapanggap ng BPO o yung mga POGO na papanggap na they are legit business but actually what they are doing is scamming and POGO operation. Ano na po yan? Hindi na po pwede yan. Ang usapan po is wala talaga ngayon. Wala. Whether BPO yan, POGO yan, IGL yan, stop po lahat yan. Next year ko talagang intensified ng campaign laban dyan sa mga POGO na yan.
But what happens next, Yusek, to those POGO operators who decide that they will still operate come January?
Yes, yun nga po yung sinasabi ko magiging mahigpit na talaga. Talagang nagtulong-tulong na po during our meeting 2 days ago. Pinagsama-sama na po ng Pangulo lahat. Nandun na po ang Bureau of Immigration, ang National Bureau of Investigation, ang DOJ, ang DSWD, nandun na po ang DILG for the local government support. Tsaka po yung PAOCC and other units po na kailangan natin. Pinagsama-sama na po talaga kami para isa lang talaga ang direksyon pagdating ng January. Talagang hulihan na po ito, talagang intensified campaign against all these POGO operators.
I also read in a report, Yusek Gilbert, recently na nakapag-deport na kayo ng mga 187 yata yung numero ng mga Chinese, mainland Chinese. I'm not sure kung mainland Chinese lang sila lahat. But ang tanong ko, mga galing yan di ba? Halo-halo na galing Porac, galing galing Tarlac, and dun sa Lapu-Lapu.
Yes.
Are you still looking for yung natitirang bahagi? Do we have their identities? Like, do you have a number na how many pa that you're looking for or are at large?
Marami pa eh. Actually, nasa 2,500 na yung naipapa-deport natin. And we still have another... actually, kaninang umaga yata nakapagpa-deport pa kami ng additional 34 plus another 12 yung mga Indonesians and Malaysians. Marami pa po eh. Hindi lang po Chinese dyan. Halo-halo talaga. We have Vietnamese, we have Malaysians, Indonesians. Halo-halo po yan. Inuuna lang po namin talaga para medyo organize yung mga Chinese na pinadeport namin dahil unang-una po sila talaga yung marami and pangalawa talaga sila po yung inaasikaso talaga ng kanilang mga embassies.
Okay, so nabanggit yung na si DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla ay nagpalabas na ng order at nag-meeting na nga kayo. Pero base po dun sa mga Quadcom hearing kasi, may mga ibang, kumbaga, local chief executives na kung they turn a blind eye or I'm not sure na they're purposely, na wala daw silang alam. But that's what they said, under oath. Are you not afraid na magyari yan ulit na baka hindi ninyo mahuli?
Ano na ngayon medyo kahiyaan na Hindi na nila pwedeng sabihin na bigla na lang sumulpot ito na parang kabuti doon sa lugar nila. And even the president told us na it's very impossible that the local government units hindi manotice yan o hindi nila alam yan. It's really impossible. Yan po ang word ng ating mahal na presidente.
Are you gonna be taking like advice from the public or tips from the public? Kunwari, dun sa, kasi nga yung iba, no, nabanggit nyo, nasa communities, no, nasa residential areas, dun sila nagtatago when they're broken up into smaller groups. How can citizens report? Can we report it straight to the PAOCC? Or should we report it to our local PNP?
Yeah, they can report straight to the PAOCC or yung sa local naman po kasi there is already a instruction coming from our president na talaga pong pagtutulong-tulungan ito whether the report will be or the info will be relayed sa national or sa local po, talagang pagtutulong-tulungan namin. And we're willing to provide our services sa national kung halimbawa po magkakaproblema yung local as to how they will deal dito po sa paghuli dito sa mga rogue POGOs po na nakakalat ngayon.
So would you say now that it's December 12 na, a few more days to go, December 15 na, and just a few more weeks till December 31, how many % no, would you say na natapos na natin nung pag-wrap up ng POGO operations dito sa Pilipinas?
Sa ngayon kasi, sa record namin talagang konting-konti na lang. But yun nga, sinasabi ko, yung sa initial info namin, meron pang kulang-kulang na siguro mga 150 plus na sila yung they form themselves into a smaller group para mag-operate. Yun ang tinitingnan namin ngayon. But those who are registered before as POGO and IGLs, talaga nagtiklupa na sila.
Yeah, Yusek, I wanted to ask lang ulit, no, for those yung mga citizens that would want to help out in eliminating all POGOs, ano po yung mga red flags ulit, yung mga clear signs? Because you mentioned earlier, mga lagi nagpapadeliver, laging bukas yung mga ilaw. Ano po ulit yun, yung mga pwede pang abangan?
Well, unang-una, tama yun. Sa gabi kasi nag-ooperate yan dahil yun sa oras nga na ginagawa nilang operation na pwedeng araw dito tapos gabi sa kabila. Ngayon, sa gabi, they work mostly talaga sa gabi. So, obviously, talagang pag maraming ilaw yung isang lugar at nakakakita sila na ang daming foreign national o maraming gising sa gabi, mga red flags na yon. And aside from that, ang nangyayari kasi ngayon is may mga darating na isang truck o isang van na malaki na punong-puno ng mga computers and then biglang ililipat sa isang lugar. Tapos plus there are cables and other mga electrical gadgets na makikita sila. Yon dapat nire-report nila. Actually, marami na po kaming report na natatanggap na ganon. And yung presence po nung foreign nationals tsaka yung pagpapadeliver po ng pagkain kasi hindi na sila nagpapaluto talaga. Most of the time they just have their food delivered dun sa lugar nila. Yun po yung mga signs. And kadalasan po what they are using right now na parang temporary safe house nila or operation nila is yung mga resort, they hire the whole resort for that matter. Kung halimbawa mga nasa 100 po sila o mga 200 po sila or sometimes they hire or yung the whole floor po ng mga ng condominium naka-room lang po sila, hina-hire po nila yung buong floors. And then nagpapadagdag po sila ng internet connections. Yun po yung mga red flags na nakikita diyan.
Sana nga, no, Yusek, by next year, bumilis-bilis na yung internet speeds nating lahat. But again, thank you for the tips. Tutulungan namin kayo magmasid at mag-imbestiga at magsusumbong din kami pag may napansin kami. But thank you.
Thank you. That is appreciated so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much also for your time, for joining us tonight. PAOCC Executive Director, Undersecretary Gilbert Cruz, maraming salamat po.
Sabihin ko sana, ang hirap nung sinabi ni Yusek kasi daw pag madaming tao sa resort, Christmas season na naman. Pagkamalan tayo.
Pero naalala mo yung nahuli nila sa Fontana na ginagawa palang hub tapos sobrang daming vaults or safes na nakita sa loob, like 19 safes na maraming laman.
That's right.
So they do that.
Oo.
Sa mga condos din, sabihin ko nga, supercars, Yung sobrang daming supercars.
Na mga random na nakikita mo, tsaka sunod-sunod.
Sunod-sunod, or yung malalaking mga black na van na mamahalin.
Well, let's do our part to help out. But before we go, let's head over to a party. And it's not your usual Christmas party, as the MVP group hosted a concert for a cause for victims of the recent cyclones that hit the country. Let's get updates from our mobile journalist, Amy Atienza. Hello, Amy. Nabalitaan namin na grabe star-studded daw yung event na yan. Sino-sino ba yung mga personalities na nakita mo tonight?
Yes, Shawn, Denise, we are here currently at the Smart Araneta Coliseum where we are celebrating the Christmas season with the MVP group. And of course, we are seeing a lot of famous personalities under signal, and our very own Gretchen Ho is also here hosting for today. And we'll also see a lot of television hosts like Regina Lay, Tito Vic, Joey De Leon, and a lot more. There are also artists who actually presented and had a singing performances like Kevin Peralejo and Krisha Viaje. So there's really a lot that we're going to look forward to tonight. And there are also athletes who are really just around, roaming around the places for a meet and greet.
Amy, I read in the intro that it is a concert. So tell us about the performers. Yung nabanggit mo are guests, or are they also performing?
Of course, they will also be with us to watch the concert, but they are also performing different Christmas songs and also very special performances for our audiences. And actually, the best part about this concert is that it's not really just about the performances, but they also have raffles for the attendees, wherein they would be able to bring home motorcycles and cash prizes and a lot more. So it's definitely a night to remember for everyone here tonight.
But more importantly, Denise, this is actually kind of a fundraiser. It's going to be helping typhoon victims. Okay. Amy, exactly how is this event going to be able to help typhoon victims?
Oh, Shawn, the funds that we raised for this concert, the tickets that we sold, and also for our telecasts that's going to happen on December 15 and December 22 are all going to the survivors of the typhoon, especially because the country has really been through a lot of typhoons this year, from Bagyong Enteng to Bagyong Christine. We really saw a lot of victims of the typhoons this year. So all the funds from the ticket sales and also the television views, we're going to see them being donated to the typhoon survivor.
Amy, yung mga attendees naman, I'm sure they already wanna do their part and help out. Aside from, getting their tickets, is there any other way that they can also, share their blessings doon sa mga kapatid natin na nasa lanta?
Like us, na wala dyan.
Oh, na wala dyan.
Yes, like I said, we will have a television. We'll have a telecast of this Christmas party. It's going to be a two-part Christmas special that will be televised on 1PH, TV5, Buka Channel, and Sari-Sari, and also a same-day broadcast for in our RPTV. And we also have our QR codes here so that we could be able to donate to the Alagang Kapatid Foundation and help those typhoon victims if ever we wanted to help them and not be able to attend this event.
Okay. Tama si Amy, Denise. Alagang Kapatid Foundation is always open to receiving your donations, and they're really legit. They're always ahead of the curve. Nandun sila.
And regardless of the time of the year.
Regardless of the time of the year, regardless of what calamity it is,
right.
They're always there and making sure that your money goes in the right place and really hits the target. So, Amy, I guess we'll let you go and let you enjoy the rest of the night. Amy, are you still there? Okay. Thanks so much, Amy Atienza.
Okay, that's the show for tonight. And just a reminder, 13 more days before Christmas.
We are One News, all sides, all the time. Thank you for tuning in.